Hello and welcome along to Season 1, Episode 7 of The Head Coach. My name's Daniel and coming up today we face Dartford at home in the final game of the Vanarama National League South season. But before that, since you were last with us, it's all just fallen away a little bit, so let's go and have a look at our results. You were last with me a few games ago as we played at home to St Albans in the National League South. We drew 1-1 at home and it started a pretty bad downward spiral, as you can see. First, let's get the major positive out the way. You can see we managed to sneak through against Whitehawk in the FA Trophy semi-final, a 2-2 draw away from home, and then a 1-0 win at home with that man, Sakarja, scoring again. He was absolutely awful in that game as usual, but he did nick the winner, and we are through to the FA Trophy final where we will play Gateshead, and of course we'll be showing that on camera as promised. However, in the league, unfortunately, things haven't gone quite so well. So we drew again against Concord the game after you were with us last. Then got battered at home to East Thurrock where we were awful. Had a little bit of respite against Western-super-Mare before being absolutely battered by Chelmsford as well. Then we had a very comfortable win at Eastbourne Borough where I thought things were just getting back on track. But we're now 3 without a win, including a couple of narrow losses. The biggest difference you can see from now is that we have just started hemorrhaging goals at the back, which is obviously not a recipe for success as we go into what is likely to be a long playoff campaign now. So let's look at the league table. We are in 4th place now. Unfortunately, we can't win the league. We can't finish second. But let's not forget the expectation was to finish in mid-table. So it's still been a great season. But I just worry that we're in bad form as we go into the playoffs now. We're almost certain of that top 5 finish, which would give us home advantage in the playoff quarter-final under this new format. Although, of course, we'd really love to finish 3rd to mean we skip the quarters and go straight through to the one-legged semi-final. But either way, it's a good achievement for us this season. We do have Dartford at home on the final day of the season, so of course if they beat us, they will jump above us. They're directly below us in 5th at the moment. But without further ado, let's get into that game and see if we can get the result we need. Obviously, if we get the draw, we're guaranteed to finish ahead of Dartford. We're guaranteed a top 5 finish and a home advantage, which, based on our away form recently, is quite important. Having said that, our big defeats against Chelmsford and East Thurrock were both at home. You can see Dartford are quite clear favourites. They're a club that I very much admire the way they run, as do my co-hosts on the Honest Football podcast, which I'll put a link up in the video if you want to check it out. But lining up today for this final game, we have got Dan Lincoln in goal, the superhero. He's still been in great form. In that East Thurrock game, he did make his first mistake of the season that led to a goal. But to be fair, he can't be blamed for anything that's happened since either. We've got Davis, Field, Wood and Campbell at the back. Chad Field has now signed a new contract, so our Director of Football is keeping up his good work across the board there. We've got a midfield of Wanadio, Widrington, Taylor and Swallow, and a familiar front two of Pearce and Lubicic. On the bench we have, remarkably, top goal scorer Sakarja, Ross Meldrum, Tommy Block, James Crane and Sammy Alabt, with the usual man Jimmy Moyt missing out on the squad. So let's get into it and see if we can go into the playoffs in some sort of form. Okay, so both teams lining up with a 4-4-2. We have done quite well against them this season generally. The 2 big heavy defeats, the teams weren't playing 4-4-2, so it's not something that's going to upset us in this game. We're giving them a morale boost. I think it might be the first time you've ever seen something different to the challenge to pick up where we left off. But that's because we haven't been winning any games. So let's see if we can get an early lead in this game. We really need to start on the right foot, but that long ball through has not found anyone bar their goalkeeper. Looked like they were time wasting there for a minute, which is a bit weird this early on. As a few minutes into the game, I wouldn't expect much to happen. You've seen we've been slow starters on a number of occasions this season. And it does feel like we're going to have to try and grow into this game with confidence at a pretty much an all-time low for this season. Lubicic had been hacked down there on the counter-attack. It's pause for the highlight. Maybe it'll be a red. No, just a yellow. Getting ambitious. It's Curtly Williams, former Luton player. Barely played a game. Wasn't very good either, to be brutally honest. But he's in the Dartford team today, so let's see if he can do anything against us. Hopefully not. But again, Dartford have had the early run in, the early shots. They've probably had most of the early position based on the highlights, and they've had a header there from the set piece. Luckily, Dan Lincoln's in goal, and as usual, he is equal to it. Yeah, Dartford are getting on top in terms of possession now. We haven't had a shot on goal, let alone on target, with 15 minutes gone, and we haven't really looked like creating one. We haven't had an attacking highlight yet. But I suppose, as we said before the episode, if we can get our draw, we're guaranteed the top five above Dartford. The only problem is if we finish fifth and sixth, we could end up playing them, which wouldn't be the ideal outcome. They've had another go there from inside the box, and Lincoln's made another good save and held on to it. We are going to get our first attack now, I think. We've got Lubicic holding the ball up to Witherington. Can he get the ball out wide? He does, to the right back Davis. He's going to go inside back to Taylor. Out wide to the left to Swallow. Get the cross in, Willie, for Lubicic. He does, but it's straight at the keeper, who weirdly punches away to Witherington, and his shot goes straight back at Ibrahim, who gets away with his earlier punch. But with 25 minutes gone, it is nice to have seen us have a shot on target, though I can't imagine there'll be many more the way we're playing at the moment. Oh, apologies for the slight glitch there. Sudden fit of coughing, and Witherington's just hacked him down. Oh, what are you doing? It's all going wrong now. Witherington's had a straight red. I think that might be our first red card of the season, you know. Oh, no, it's not. We had him in the league, in the cup game against Luton as well, didn't we? But it's our first one in the league, I think. And we're going to have to bring on Tommy Block, but I don't think I've got a choice but to sacrifice a striker this early on. I'm going to let Ollie Pearce off. He's not been in the best of form. We'll leave Lubicic up there. He is the best player at the club, according to the assistant manager. And we'll see if we can hang out. But we're looking for a draw now at the best. We haven't got the chance to win the game with the one up front, and we've lost all our pace. And look at that. Lubicic has picked up a knock now. Talk about timing. Oh, I don't know what to do now. This has all gone pear-shaped. We've had a few bad games, but we at least have kept our squad fit. And as you've seen, we've only got one player who's not on the bench. We've got a couple of okay players we've used this season, Tuck and Sirachi, as Lincoln makes another save. They're in the under-23s. But after that, we are really wearing thin in terms of squad. And it would be quite tragic if we went into the playoffs and the FA Trophy final not being able to name a five-man bench. I guess the one good thing is those couple of youngsters we looked at in the last episode could get into the squad. They're not ready for first team football yet, but we're not left with any choice, as Lubicic is now forced off with injury. Sakaja will come up front, but we've got no one to hold the ball up. We're going to have to go to a counter-attack. We're going to go for the long ball into space. We can't float the crosses because he can't head the ball, so we'll whip them in. And we'll be more disciplined and just try and hold out for the draw. It's our only hope now, really. We'll put him as an advance forward so we can try and get him in behind, if possible. We need him to work hard, so we can't just have him as a poacher at the moment. Thankfully, it's nearly half time and they'll get a rest and a bit of fitness back, but I can really see the second half being difficult. Let's have the team talk then. Let's see what we can say to them. Yeah, it's just a bit of encouragement, really. There's not much to be said. We've got 10 men. We're playing one of the best side in the league, and we haven't won in 3 games. That sums up where we are perfectly. But I shouldn't be too negative. Finishing anywhere in the playoffs is a huge achievement for this side. We did, in between the last 2 episodes, have a real brief bit of interest from a National League side. It was only one of the smaller ones who's going to be coming down. I think it might have been Solihull Moors. But nevertheless, it is good to see that clubs at the level above are taking an interest in us. If we don't manage to go up this year in the playoffs, which I think is we have to face now is unlikely, it's going to be really hard to replicate this again next season. But hopefully our stock will rise and we'll just get a sneaky job offer early in the year from one of the National League teams, and we can start this journeyman story up to the top of the leagues. Obviously, the one thing we have got to be careful of is we're not always going to get a great director of football. We have got that here. And safety would say stay here and build, but it's not the nature of this save. And realistically, if you're managing Bognor Regis and you get a big conference offer, you'd take it, particularly if it doubled your salary, which it likely would here. But we're all getting ahead of ourselves at the moment. We're a few minutes into the second half. As you would expect, Dartford are going to have all of the run in between now and the end of the game as we just sit behind the ball trying to draw. Wood heads the ball away, but it's going to be a constant bank of 4, followed by another bank of 4, followed by Sakaja filling in as a number 10 most of the time. We're not going to have many attacks, but he is in behind from a long ball here, but it is back to the keeper. The fact that I'm getting excited about that sniff of a chance tells you how badly we're going to be defending in this game, particularly for the rest, with them playing a 4-4-2. They've got 2 up front. Danny Mills is a good striker up there as well, and here he is with the ball on the left side of the box. He crosses to Pugh, and that is it. We're 1-0 down. it doesn't look like we've got any means to get back into the game, and more importantly, we've dropped down to 6th place. If we go and have a look at the league table at the moment, St Albans are winning at Bath. Surprise, surprise. We said it couldn't happen, and it has. Surely Bath will get a result out of it. We're after the hour now. There's a couple of tired legs. The wingers have been terrible, but we've only got one sub left really now after the injury and the red card. We'll bring Meldrum on. We'll bring him on for Wanadio on the right, just to bring her back a bit more familiarity. He did spend the first half of the season there before Wanadio came in on loan, and hopefully he can make a difference with good delivery, but I doubt it at this point. Yeah, it's really looking defensive now, to be honest. We've still only had that one shot on target from Widrington before his red card, and again they're camped out in our half. It's an easy game for them at the moment, but Wood clears and Sakarja's not anywhere near it. We've got another chance to get rid now from Lincoln, but it's straight to their defence. Sakarja's just chasing the four of them around, saying, "What do you expect me to do?" And to be fair to him, he's got a point. The ball comes in again from Dartford, and Danny Mills is headed wide. But this is all one-way traffic now. I'm tempted to take a gamble and go all-out attack for the last 10 minutes or so. But if we do, we could be in a real spot of bother, because we could lose 3 or 4, and then what happens? Well, we have moved back up to 5th. Look at that. Bath have equalised, and it's Famiwo, the Luton youngster, on loan. What a legend that man is. Davis clears the ball, and no chance of a counter-attack yet again. But trust it to be a Luton Youth Academy player who saves the day. If we can finish 5th, we'd be very happy. It would mean we'd probably play St Albans in 6th. I think that's how it works. But we would have the home advantage. So a repeat of the episode before this one. But here they come again, Dartford. They're out on the right-hand side now. They've put an early ball in again, and Mills heads over. It looks like that's their game plan. They've got big, strong strikers in the box, and they're just delivering over and over again. With 10 minutes to go, I'm tempted not to gamble now. We might do it for a couple of minutes at the end, but we're in that 5th position we wanted. It's just the morale and the confidence. It will all be gone after this one. But what can you expect? It's 3 defeats in a row, 4 without a win. Do we have a late chance here with Sakarja? What on earth is that? I know he hasn't had service, and it's not the best ball into him, but that is poor still. And they're coming on the counter again. And again, we went flying in for a tackle there. I don't know what's going on. But here they come, Pugh to Delaverde, and Block wins it back to Sakarja. He's the only man in their half, but we're getting support up now. Oh, what is that? He is what? He has lost the ball again. Technically, that man is absolutely awful. How he scored 28 goals this year, I do not know, as Field heads away again, and they've gone from long range and over. We'll have a quick look at Sakarja at the end of the game. I don't know how he's got to 28 goals. I know he's not had much support in this game, but the passing and the finishing we've seen so often on camera is awful. You saw him in our second episode of the season. He put a penalty down about 30 yards over. He's just not the greatest player technically. He's done a job for us though, and he's in. Can he score and late equaliser? No, he's been challenged, and it's out for a corner. That was the one chance to get a result and change the confidence in the squad, but it isn't. Swallow puts a corner in, and it's hit the first man out to Meldrum. Oh, I don't know. I think that was further wide than I thought it was on first glance, but a bit of excitement in the attacking sense isn't a bad thing to have. Swallow finds Block, and we're coming forward now towards the end to Sakarja. Back again, and it's an awful ball given away. Danny Mills is through, and they're going to make it 2 here surely as they put it across to the empty man, and Pugh's put it wide thankfully. 1-0 defeat. Given the circumstance with the red card in the first half, it's not bad. Ljubicic's injury, if he's out of the playoff games, we've got no chance of winning them. He's our only man out there. Our director of football did try someone. Here's Sakarja. Oh, he's saved. Yeah, our director of football did try to sign another striker on deadline day, but he turned us down to stay at Concord Rangers, which shows the level of football we're at, to be honest. Here is Block. He finds Wood. Can we have one last chance on goal to Swallow? But it's cleared away, and that'll probably just about be that. Taylor finds Campbell. Up to Block. We are going to get one more chance, are we? No, we've given it away again. And as Dartford break on the counter-attack, I'd imagine that's going to be the end of the game now. Tommy Block goes long, and he's still going. It's half a minute over the allotted time now. But Dartford have won it back. They're coming forward again. Field heads away, and that time it is the final whistle. We have lost 1-0. We have finished with 10 men, and we have had our best player, as so called by our assistant manager, off injured before half-time. What a bad ending to the season that is. We'll go through and look at the formalities of who we've got coming up in the playoffs and all of that. We're disappointed with the performance, but realistically, with 10 men, there wasn't much more we could expect. There we go then, confirmation of the final league table in the Vanarama National League South. We have finished in the all-important 5th place. We've got the home tie against, I believe, St Albans. And let's see what they've said about this game, just in case there's any surprise feedback. We've obviously got to look at how long Lubicic is injured for. Poor performance? Well, of course it was. We had 10 men for an hour. Bath have won the title. Well done to them. Widrington, may decide to extend his ban because it was an awful tackle. To be honest, it looked terrible, so I'm not going to appeal that one. It's very rare you win an appeal on this game anyway. But this is the worrying one. Lubicic, 1 to 2 days. Thank goodness for that. We will have him back, hopefully for the quarter-final of the playoffs, and definitely for the FA Trophy final, which I think we have to prioritise now. You can see even more so why he's been important for us is Ollie Pearce is on a goal drought. So he has now been out of luck for 8 matches, and that says it all really. It coincides with this run. But that will be all from this episode. If we go and look at our schedule, you'll see we've got our playoff game coming up on Wednesday. We will be back for that tomorrow. So remember to come back and check that one out. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please put a thumbs up on there. You can subscribe to the channel below for regular Football Manager content from FM18 and FM Touch. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.